the new administration inside the United States, Mr. Zhou, has been taking the serious issue of Syria very seriously. But the question is whether they are likely to bring solutions with the current approach it has, mainly to we still have to wait and see to see what is exactly the strategy, Mr. Zhou.
Right now, I can say the best of the worst options right now is extended stalemate. That is to say, right now, the people in Syria are not suffering so much about the war, but they're suffering economic crisis. But right now, they have, if United States intend to do something for the future peace and the stability of Syria, they have to invite all the partners concerned, interested group concerned, including Russia, Turkey, Iran, and Syria Assad government, as well as the United States and some of the Arab countries, to stay together to see what we can do for the future of Syria. But right now, I really think the best of the worst option is to continue the stalemate.
Very sad, but that is the reality. Having said that, the world has been changing so much. From the time when the Syria civil war broke out to today, we see the Middle East, where is it in terms of priority of American policy? We also see the changes of America itself, credibility, and its approach to the rest of the world. We also see some interesting changes in the relationship between U.S. and its allies, including with the Europeans and those in the Middle East. So, Mr. Vakart, given all these changes, what would that mean for whether there will be any solution, and what will be the nature of that solution, so-called the best of the worst choice?
We have witnessed since the election of Joe Biden is that there was a slight change. Back in November, 4 Arab states, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and UAE, held a gathering to discuss the Syrian issue.
Right.
And apparently they were discussing, how to move forward. And one could argue that this meeting has been arranged with ideas coming from the Syrian government in mind. And the theory is that those countries, along with the Syrian government, would find some sort of a middle solution that they could take as an initiative to the new American administration. This was back in November. This meeting took place late November, assuming that when President Biden would take office, this initiative could be presented. What we have witnessed in the past few days is that Russia came along. Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, visited UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. And he made discussions about, how to move forward. Now, presumably, what we've heard from those officials in the news conferences was something like bringing back Syria to its Arab neighborhood. And that would involve, as Sergei Lavrov put it, Minister Lavrov, bringing back Syria to its seat in the Arab League. Now, who would oppose that naturally? It would be Qatar, backed by Turkey, which explains why Sergei Lavrov visited Qatar, to probably see how they can mediate, what would it take for Qatar not to veto Syria's coming back. So we're thinking there is a movement that is taking place, and everybody seems happy. So I think there is a bit of optimism in the air at the moment in terms of a regional-backed, Arab-backed step forward on solving the Syrian solution that could be taken to Washington. And most importantly, the UAE Foreign Minister, Abdullah bin Zayed, said something about the sanctions. He said, this cannot continue, or we cannot move forward as long as the Caesar Act is as it is at the moment, or implemented as it is at the moment, signaling they want some change in Washington as well.
Mr. Sloboda, because of the changes that we mentioned earlier, there seems to be much more